Alright everyone, this is Yay Emacs 21 and I think it's a good opportunity to continue with thinking about newbies and starter kits. Also, theoretically, you might be able to join via BigBlueButton. I will put the link in the chat and we can experiment with it because I have no idea if it works or not. Let's go see. That's not it. Let's get the right one. Copyright. I need to have shorter URLs, but that will come eventually. Step 2, find the chat window. I have too many windows. So many. Okay, let's see if that works. For now. And then let's find out if everything gets crazy if I share my, like, how does this work? I unmute myself. Testing. Okay, that shows up. I am logged in with the Emacs Conf user at the moment. I probably have a me account on this as well. I just don't remember if I've got that set up yet. Anyway, we're experimenting with this because next week or so. Yes, next week I am chatting with Amin Bandali and we're going to start doing some Emacs chats, possibly on BigBlueButton because it's free and open source. So that is all goodness. And let's share screen 1, I think. Could not share the screen. I'm going to try this with the other browser. Let's paste in my join link. Let's log in as me. Here. Microphone. It doesn't like my microphone. Fine. Let's see if this lets me share my screen. Entire screen. Share. Okay. All right. So now I'm sharing. I am not sharing. It's not happening. Well, it's thinking about it. So my goal is to get to the point where I can use BigBlueButton to share my sub goal, my side quest, to share my screen so people can see what I'm talking about and stream at the same time. But it doesn't seem to be happening, so that might be something that I need to fiddle with off screen. Okay, I will just save this for if anyone wants to drop by and share their stuff. Okay, that is cool. I will live. Okay, let us get back to whatever I can do. So yesterday I was thinking about this Emacs Carnival April 2026 topic of newbies and starter kits. And I wanted to start thinking about what I can do to help people with isolation, overwhelm, and these little challenges that come with being a new to Emacs. But actually, there's still challenges that we deal with even when you're experienced. And I'm seeing people in the chat, but it's not showing up in the chat of social stream. Boo. So Mered says hello, and Jackson also says good morning. Good morning to you too. I have in the notes and transcript, I've actually updated this with a transcript, I think. So now my post from yesterday has the video from yesterday, which is great. It also has my outline, which might be slightly easier to read in non-dark mode. Dark mode. Off. On second thought, flash of light. Never mind. You can deal with the dark mode flipping yourself. So I have the outline. I have some to-dos for myself, and I have this lovely transcript, which I edited and added chapters to because text is wonderful. So all of that is there. Probably there's still some misrecognized words in it, but handy. And then the outline up there has the links. So theoretically, I can start taking this and doing stuff with the thoughts and with the text to figure out how that goes. Let's see. Reload. Haha! Did the reload work? No. Okay. Things that I don't quite understand. But that's okay. I'll live. Okay. Let's get on with it then. So a lot of people recommend Emacs News to new users or to other people who are interested in keeping up with what's going on in the Emacs world. And I want to make it easier for people to find the resources and know what to do with things. So here's where they often end up. One of the things I've just added is a note that you can get to this page using a shorter URL like sashachuo.com/emacs-news or sash.ac/emacs-news. And I should probably make it also work without the dash, because then people, if they don't have to remember, okay, does it have a dash, does it not have a dash, and so forth. So that can be a to-do for me. Add an Nginx redirection for Emacs News, no dash. All right. So, and I've also added this, are you new to Emacs? Check out these tips for making the most of Emacs News. Plus quick subscription options, Elfeed and an RSS or your favorite newsreader, MailChimp, or whatever. I feel like it's slightly easier for newbies to deal with mailing lists because everyone knows how to do email and not a lot of people know how to use the awesomeness of RSS readers. So let's in fact switch this around so that the mailing list is up there. And let's make Elfeed a link. Elfeed, where is Elfeed? Hey, bonjour, Prot. Okay, Prot is also dropping in. I actually wanted, so I have the session with Prot next week, and I actually want to pick Prot's brain about the newcomer experience as well. I've started to draft some notes around that in here. So instead of my just telling you about all the cool stuff that I've been building for updating, updating YouTube related entries on my blog or whatever, I want to pick Prot's brain about newbies and starter kits, which is great because Prot had some contemporaneous notes in 2019 when he started with Emacs. There's a video blog, and he shared his experience starting as a non-programmer. And in his recent 2026 talk, for which the transcript and the video are also available online, these are both in the emacs.com page. You can follow these links yourself, but I will copy them because I can. Let's copy as. Why do I have too many? I have too many options there. Okay. So I will copy these links in to that. Where Prot says, starting Emacs without a background in programming, he learned the basics within a few days, started writing his own Emacs list within weeks, and within a year, he had contributions to core Emacs. So I'm curious about how we can make the newbie or starter kit experience better for people. And as a quick summary of what I discussed yesterday in my brainstorming thing, it's in posts.org, which I have a sketch of? Yes. We are thinking about the problems of isolation, where people generally don't know somebody else in real life who is into Emacs and can just lean over and fix stuff for them. And also they're not looking over someone else's shoulder and getting inspired by the cool things that they're doing. I'm not sure you can get much more isolated than being a mountain hermit in Cyprus. So Prot is an excellent example of still managing to be virtually connected, even though he's physically isolated. Oh wait, actually, we have some monks and we have some mountaineering guides who still manage to make interesting completion frameworks like Helm. That's CRE. Anyhow, so isolation is something that a lot of people feel like it's very challenging for them when it comes to learning. There's overwhelm, so just the sheer number of things that you need to learn, the new terms for everything, the keyboard shortcuts, the things that you've got to do in order to get a basic working environment set up to the point where you feel comfortable spending some time in it every day without feeling like it's holding you back. And cheat sheets and actually things like menu items and toolbars can be helpful for that. Third problem is balance of time. Spending time tinkering with your config versus spending time getting things done, which is less of an issue if you're learning it at a leisurely pace, but more of an issue if you are under some pressure to become productive as soon as possible. And the fourth is the things that you don't even know to look for. And this is where emacs-news and other sources of inspiration can be helpful, because then you come across a video or a blog post and you say, I can do that. And if you're lucky, that video or blog post will be accompanied by a tutorial that says, okay, this is step-by-step how to do it. But often there's still a lot of translation that's needed so that it can fit with your particular environment or your particular workflow. And Jackson shares that he gave up on using Emacs yesterday, and then they realized they could use VS Code to get things done while they're learning Emacs. So it's not an all or nothing thing. You can learn, you can still use another editor to do most of your work, but use Emacs for like a small set of things that you know how to do with it. You might just know how to edit a file and save it, and that's it. That's good. That's great for starters. And then every day you might learn one new shortcut or one new thing that you can do, and gradually your use of Emacs will grow and grow and grow until you start thinking, hey, why can't I just read my email in Emacs like all the cool kids, or why don't I just go figure out how to browse the web in Emacs, or keep track of my sewing in Emacs. That does actually happen. So yeah, totally, just start small. But this process of breaking things down into tiny steps is something that newbies might not know. They don't have the experience to know what is the small step, or they're just overwhelmed with all the things that they want to do. So I was thinking that, and do I even have this BigBlueButton thing set up yet? Okay, no one is in it. It's just me. I was thinking that it might be possible. Well, there are a number of different ways where people can get this sort of advice on how to break things down to make things simpler. One is, every time people post this challenge on Reddit or elsewhere where they say, okay, I want to learn Emacs, but there's so many things. How do I learn this? Everyone keeps saying, okay, start small. Maybe have a post-it note, which cannot be seen, a post-it note on your monitor with the keyboard shortcuts that you are trying to learn, or have one text file where it's just your notes about what you're learning. Just break it down. Or people can go to, if they're having a hard time finding out what to break it down into, they can go to places like Reddit or IRC, the Emacs channel there on Libera Chat, or meetups, and say, okay, this is where I am now. How do I do this? How do I get there? And that might be helpful. Anyway, so those are the 4 challenges. And what I want to do today, with the 1 hour I have, is I want to Unless other people happen to drop into the BigBlueButton thing that I am also trying to experiment with, except for some reason I'm not sure I can share my screen, which is a little inconvenient. I will debug that later. Anyway, what I can do in the background is start to think about the experience of coming to Emacs News as a newbie. Hey, Jackson is in there! Okay, theoretically this sort of works. I don't know if people want to say things. What is going on? Hang on a second. Okay, call from the school. So I asked him to call me back in 1 hour and we'll see how that goes. Hello, intended. Okay, anyway, so feel free to unmute yourself and share anything if you want to in the BigBlueButton. In the meantime, I will continue. I have not actually spent some time yet thinking about how audio will work with this, because Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox have a little bit of a problem, I think, with sharing my audio. Actually, maybe this is a test. Can you hear me through BigBlueButton? Maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. We'll see. Okay. And in the meantime, I can just continue with this until people want to experiment with that part. All right. Emacs News. So Emacs News.
Hello.
It works. It works. People are talking. I mean, people can talk. Thank you very much. I can actually hear you. Feel free to jump in. And for anyone else who also wants to be on stream, kind of, I will paste the BigBlueButton thing again, and all y'all are going to behave yourselves, I hope. We'll see. One of my long-term goals would be...
We'll see.
Yeah, would be nice to revive these Emacs Hangouts that I used to do on Google Meet, I think, a long time ago. But of course, we've got BigBlueButton now, so we can do it in like proper free and open source software, where people just come and share what they're working on, what they're curious about, what they want to learn, and then we can try these sort of figuring out this helping people figure stuff out thing. Okay, if it's not too confusing. But so now I'm going to try to remember to pause every moment so people can interject. Where was I? Oh yes, so Emacs News. Emacs News as a new person is a little bit overwhelming, because so imagine newbie says, okay, I'm new to Emacs, what should I read? And people recommend things like, oh, check out the Mastering Emacs book, check out read the Control-HT tutorial. It's great. It is a great starting point. If you want to keep up with what's going on, interesting things, and how do you get connected to the community, read Emacs News or subscribe to it. So this is a little overwhelming for people. Jeff says that he's researching making a VS Code plugin, actually. Good luck. If you run out of things, like if you run into things that you can't do with VS Code, so I think some people have experimented with doing Emacsy things inside VS Code or vice versa. I'm not entirely sure. I can rummage through my notes and see who has mentioned that before. There was an EmacsConf proposal for it before. Okay, anyway, Emacs News. So I have this now where I say, okay, check out these tips for making the most of Emacs News. And then so like I was saying, I was thinking maybe starting with let me find the page that edits this. Saying topics, Emacs News. Okay. Starting with email is probably the easiest, so I will do that. Do I even want to nudge people to use MailChimp? I don't particularly like MailChimp. This is just Emacs News as either HTML or plain text emails. includes org version if you prefer. Oh yeah, I mentioned that here, so that's fine. And then I have an explanation of if you, so this is if you are reading email in Emacs, yes, you can read email in Emacs. And you have, okay. All right. So there's that. Okay, RSS. So now I have more of a description of how to get it by email. And this goes to the, yep, that goes to the subscription page. People can fill it in. It works like all the other mailing lists people are used to. If people want to subscribe to RSS, new users for Emacs will probably not even know what RSS is and why they might want to do it. Do I want to explain this here? Okay. Does Elfeed come with enough of an explanation so that a user can get started with it? Not very much of an explanation. Okay, is there an Elfeed tutorial that I can I feel like this is not really an Elfeed tutorial. I feel like there needs to be like a basic from scratch. I don't even know what init.el or .config/emacs.init or .emacs or whatever thing I should use. There should definitely be a tutorial here. Let's add a comment. I should probably add a tutorial for setting up Elfeed from scratch. Okay, is there a feed reader that people like to use? So why RSS? RSS lets you read updates from sites that support it in a way that's more structured, that's kind of, separate from email. Without using your email client. Why RSS? This is like a nice friendly description. Get updates. You can also, that's not very much of a why RSS sort of thing. Why RSS versus email, which is handy when you find email overwhelming. If you find. Overwhelming. Okay. Newsticker. I will also Charlie suggests newsticker. It seems pretty friendly. There is a newsticker feed reader for Emacs. Okay. Is there like a newsticker Emacs tutorial that I can link to? Okay. So this is like use customize variable. Customize variable. Is there a new sticker? There's load library new sticker. newsticker URL list. Okay, let's go see what that looks like. Okay. Use med. I needed to load the library before I could do that. Load library newsticker to load it. Newsticker URL list. Okay. Click on ins and add as the URI. Click on instead. Label Emacs News URI. That. Okay, let's try it ourselves. Emacs News, and that is the URI. Huh. I never actually used this. Okay, click on apply and save. And then how do you actually watch it? I mean, look at it. Newsticker. Newsticker start? No, it isn't like that. Okay. Newsticker show news. Oh, okay, okay. Newsticker show news. Ooh. All right. Okay. That is newsticker. That is fairly easy to get started with. So let's recommend that. So this is setup. Run. Reading news. We are slightly delayed, Charlie says. It is because I am trying to have a 10-second stream delay in case I do silly things like accidentally show my entire email screen online and other such things. I have a panic keyboard shortcut and a panic menu item. This is a panic menu item. See, it says panic, which kills the stream. And I previously had another OBS that this could stream to in order for it to switch to a backup message if I cut the streaming. But for some reason, that one is segfaulting constantly when I start streaming from that second OBS instance. So I need to look at that more. But yes, now we have a little bit of a stream delay. And 10 seconds is a bit long, but apparently my reflexes and my panicking are still kind of tough at the moment. Eventually, when I get better at saying, okay, I know which keyboard shortcut to go, I can reduce the delay. But yes. All right. Reading news. This is what is this again? That was newsticker show news. Thank you so much. So that was a very helpful tip from Charlie. Okay. So there's the tutorial. Mini tutorial. Elfeed is slightly more complicated, but also quite useful. Okay. So we can just remove this one for now. We should show people what it looks like. As Merad says, so Merad42 says, when I started with Emacs, one of the biggest issues was not to know what each package does. Some have a picture or video or ASCII Cinema, but most of them don't. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. It would be great for more packages to have screenshots and descriptions, because and videos show workflows better than just, text can sometimes do sometimes. But since the people making packages and the people making videos or screenshots or blog posts are not necessarily the same people, we should have a different way of finding the resources related to a package that might be helpful. Where was I? I was Oh, I was actually taking a picture, adding a screenshot of this, right? Okay, so let's show this screenshot over here. And I want to show this is what it looks like. And I take a screenshot using my Meta S. And this is the new sticker thing. And then I'm going to stick that in this page. And this is what it looks like. And this is what I'm saying, insert screenshot. That is not the last screenshot. Where did the screenshot go? Oh, hang on a second. Okay, new sticker. There we go. That's because the recording keeps getting bigger. And so, okay, so this is a screenshot of new sticker. There you go. So people can then see and decide for themselves, is this worth it? Because inspiration is, people, the things that people struggle with when it comes to overwhelm, there's a lot of stuff to get through. The main question that newbies will have is this worth it? Is it worth it to read this tutorial or figure out how to fit this package into my config, figure out how to set up my config in the first place? Kind of having a screenshot or a video up front makes it much easier for people to say, yes, I want that, and I'm willing to spend 1 or 2 hours to figure out how to get that working. So I want to add a screenshot to this one, of course, so that people can see what it looks like. And in fact, why don't I stick this up here so people can see right away. And let's see what that page looks like if I have that. Log Emacs News. Oh, that's not it actually. This is topic. Emacs News. All right. It is not actually showing up. Why isn't it showing up? That shows up there. Okay, good. My export is not exporting. Fun. Okay, hang on a second. Let's look at the HTML. I expect that to just have proj static blog topic Emacs News index.html. I expect that to have the image. It does not have the image. Why does it not have the image? Is it because it has a description? Dirt. Okay, let's try that once more with feeling. Yes. Okay. Almost. All right. Now my caption is not captioning. Is it because... Is it because it's a list and it's getting confused because it's not a block? Okay. Here's a preview. Here's what it looks like. New sticker looks like. Built into Emacs. Progress. Jackson says it's gotta be ASCII Cinema. I actually haven't been using ASCII Cinema. I should probably check that out too. I've just been recording videos. Okay. So now on my topic Emacs News, has it been copied over yet? We are making things better live. This is great. Okay. Do I want to always, like, people are scrolling through this? Yeah, it's fine. I can put that in a details, disclosure thingy if they want to. they want to not see it unless they click on it. It's there. People can scroll. It's fine. Elfeed is a separate package. You'll need to know how to install packages. You'll need to know how to add. Is it available? Where is it available? It is Melpa or LGET. So people would have to know how to enable Melpa, which is not listed here. So this is a bit more advanced. You'll need, I won't, and then RSS and news is like way advanced. So Elfeed is more of an intermediate. Newsticker is like basic. This is what you're right. This is what we should probably recommend if people are just getting started out. All right, which means also I should include it in here. News. What do I say? Elfeed somewhere here. Oh, actually, emacs-news.html. This is the header part here. Use newsticker. Oh, that means I need to add. I need to add a tip instead. This is like topic Emacs News, how to subscribe. Okay. Oh, I'm not in org mode. I can't just use those links. I'm sad. Topic Emacs News. Fine. Write HTML. Okay, here we go. So now the tip is there. And I can send that to my blog in the background. Okay, progress is being made. Where are we now? Okay. So other resources that people might find useful. Emacs Wiki has a newbie sort of page. Here we go. This is where I want to gradually start adding stuff. I cannot. Emacs newbie page on Emacs Wiki. Okay, so if people are starting out, I want them to come across the Emacs newbie page for sure. And what else should they find out about? So let's go see. It's fairly straightforward. I don't know if Emacs newbie with icicles is well, I feel a little uncertain about this recommendation, but I don't want to take it all away because someone has put a lot of work into it. That maybe it might be helpful to add some other stuff. Okay, anyway, help. So I need to make sure there's a way for people to get help. Yes. Okay. The beginner map thing that I mentioned, which I do not have. I should have as a beginner resources from Emacs News archives. And how to learn Emacs. That's definitely a thing. Yeah, let's mention Planet Emacs Life. So we're just going to link dump a bunch of things here for now. And where are we? I'm very confused. Did I accidentally close my BigBlueButton thing? Nope, no, we're still here. Okay. Okay. Planet Emacs Life aggregator brings together lots of Emacs related blog posts. You know, this thing over here needs to have me saying, hey, if you need help navigating this, please email me. Which, where is this even? Beginner map. Okay, if you need help navigating this, or would like to suggest other beginner related resources, please email me. Alright. I wanted to, let's explain why I'm doing this. I want to make a map of those things people often wonder about when they're learning, so that you can find what's close by. But you already know. Okay. And maybe we'll add so theoretically, unless weird things happen, I should have that introduction. It's always good for people to have contact information. There you go. Okay. So that gives them a list of the things that are in this. And then it gives them like themes. Okay. Back to Emacs news. So Emacs Newbie, Planet Emacs Life, map of some beginner resources. What do people also find helpful? Yeah, there are tons of resources. So Jackson says, I didn't know there were so many resources for Emacs. There are tons of resources for Emacs. In fact, if you want to go through all the ones that I've posted in my Emacs news thus far, this file over here is 5 megabytes and basically includes all the links, so many links. Ever since the first file that I have in this thing, it's long and it's in org mode, so you can like just search through the categories you're interested in, or you can use occur or this new command that I just found out about. If you have consult, you can consult focus lines and it will do kind of like occur but within your regular buffer, so it just focuses on the lines that match or don't match a specific expression. Anyway, there are a lot, and what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking of going through all the things that said beginner, anything that I stuck in the beginner category, and filing that somewhere in the map. So for example, here, this is a kind of a meta discussion. How do you deal with that overwhelm problem where you're like, okay, I'm overwhelmed by the number of key bindings that I want to learn. And there's a discussion here about, do the tutorial, then take advantage of which key, make sure which key is enabled, memorize the basic movement keys, and then start using post-it notes. Everything is fine. You can just stick a post-it note on the thing. So there are a lot of beginner related resources, and there are a ton of other resources for other things. So what I probably can do is to help with a newbie issue where they're curious about learning Emacs. They don't know whether it's going to be worth spending the time to do it. Is I can look for or keep an eye out for interesting videos that come, or screenshots that come along with detailed tutorials on how to get started. Let's say, for example, org mode LaTeX export, or how to set up your Emacs for JavaScript development. And then I can say, okay, if you're starting out, these are some of the things that you might typically be interested in. How do you get started with it for note taking, for example. Merad42 says, also info pages are a very good source of information. The info pages key bindings are a bit odd at first, so need some explanation. And we should say that in the Emacs News, assuming people are starting out from scratch and they don't know how to get help, it's, kind of something about. Also, the Emacs org mode manuals are great. You can read them as within Emacs with Control HI with MetaX info. Yeah, that's Control HI. Or find them on the web. Emacs manual. And the org one is here as well. Okay. Max says, try to articulate what you want to do with words that start with a key binding. To easily memorize key bindings. Yeah. I like to use MetaX. MetaX also shows key bindings. I have it set up with marginalia and consult, which I think might be too advanced for newbies. But definitely completion is one of the things I like to get people kind of up and running first. Is there like a recommended quick start? Here you're brand new to Emacs, get this going. I guess that's where the newcomer-presets thing comes in, and I should see what's inside it. Max says to use try to articulate what you want to do with words that start with a key binding to easily memorize key bindings with the letter used in the key binding. So this is advice to make your key bindings mnemonic, to make them make sense. And it's probably useful for newbies to learn that you can easily change your key bindings so that they can make more sense to you. And Control C plus a letter is reserved for your use, so you can stick whatever key bindings make sense to you on there with regular letters and everything. I want to link to something from Emacs News that gets people started on that journey, which I think might be the Emacs newbie page. So the Emacs newbie page will link people to is a guided tour. This is not very much of a guided. There used to be a better guided tour. Where's that's a guided tour. Okay, that's a guided tour. Okay, that's a guided tour. All right. So it gets people through navigation, but it does. Does it talk about configuration? It does not talk about getting started with your configuration. Okay, where do we start telling people about getting started with configuration? Learning Emacs. Okay, maybe I should include all these things. I cannot decide. Okay, well, we'll start with the Emacs Newbie page, which is already better than it used to be before. Okay, so today I wanted to update my update the header of the Emacs News page to make it easier for people who are new. That's, I've got the short URL so that people who are recommending them, it's easier, I think, maybe to stick it in people's brains, although challenge as always, spelling my name is tricky. So maybe I need to make sure that yayemacs.com/news goes to this as well, which I don't think it currently does. So did I already add that as a to-do? Here we are. Also, yayemacs.com news and emacslife.com news. I mean, I have domains. I might as well use them. Okay, so that's done. And I've updated this so that people can start to connect with the community and find ways to work, find ways to use this Emacs beginner thing. Still a little hard for people to read. You know what I should do is I should take this beginner resources. So my beginner resources org is in syncweb, beginnermap.org. So if I make this part of kill buffer file name, what copy file name, there, copies there, Sasha copy file name. Okay, if I make this part of my I want to say it's like a refile target. Yeah, here we go. And I want to say, okay, add that to my refiles. So then if I think about this carefully, Control U, Control C, Control W, which is org refile, then I should be able to go to, all right, the beginner maps. Perfect. Okay. So now if I'm talking to somebody and I say, oh, okay, they want to learn more about customization, I can jump to this, which actually reminds me, what? Newcomer, preset, Emacs, newcomers presets. Is there like a thing that says what this is? Has anyone written a blog post about it yet? Where do I even find this? Okay. Splash screen. Was it? It was in the splash screen, wasn't it? How do I Okay, display splash screen. Splash screen. That is not it. Okay, how do I find this newcomer presets so I can tell people this is what you do in order to do it? Chapter 51 of the manual. Read the manual. Emacs. Newcomer. Okay, newcomer theme. Okay. So if I say load theme newcomers presets. Okay, I don't actually want to load the theme though. Can I say find theme? I cannot say find theme. Can I say fine? I load the theme. Fine, I will just load the theme, and then it'll be loaded. Okay, interesting. Fine. So now is it loaded? No. Find newcomers theme. Okay, here we go. I can just find the function newcomers presets mode. Okay, now I see it. Newcomers presets theme. Okay, line numbers, fly make, fly spell. That makes sense. So, does it... Let's do an Emacs queue. What do I type here in order to get that to work? Load theme newcomers presets. Completion is still not there. I want completion as part of the newcomers theme. I should mention that in Emacs Devel. Because MetaX, it's not obvious that you should type tab in order to complete things. I just do want to have... I do vertical maybe? Fido vertical mode. I mean, this by itself would already be nicer, I think. Okay. I need to suggest Fido vertical mode, maybe, for newcomers presets. Okay. And then I want to say... It's fine. It's fine. This would be nice to have a crash course. Here's how you get a reasonable Emacs for the basic working environment that you want. But it's already better than it was before. And I think newcomer presets is actually even it's in Emacs 21, so most newbies will not even be on this yet. Okay, so that's more of a future recommendation, I think. Okay, I got 2 minutes. I got 2 minutes before it's lunchtime. Okay, where was I? So I'm going to go take this transcript for this session as well, and then do my tinkering with the spelling and things like that. But I did set out to do the things that I got the things done that I set out to do, so yay! And thank you so much for the chat, because that was very helpful. I learned all sorts of things that I learned about newsticker, which I've never used before. I should also note, Maxwell says, I almost never use operations rectangles, but I remember Control X R, and then I can use which key. So you only need to remember the letter R, Jackson says. And Max says, refer to the operation as an operation or a rectangle, so I remember the R. So if you can get the logic behind the keyboard shortcuts, they become a lot easier to remember. And it helps to make your own cheat sheets for that, because you can say, all right, Control X5 is all the frame related things, and here I have which key kick in automatically after a short while, and it says, okay, these are the things. I've got this like weird highlighting going on. These are the things that start with Control X5, which is helpful, and something definitely that new users would find helpful, would find useful. All right. Okay, Prot, if you're still listening, I would like to pick your brain next week about what you think about improving the newcomer experience, especially since we can take advantage of the fact you came in without a programming background, and a lot of people are coming into Emacs for surprising reasons, like they've heard awesome things about org mode, and they're not programmers, they're writers, or they do other stuff. Sometimes they're teachers, sometimes they just do things, and org mode sounds like a thing that might help their brain from going in 20 different places. And so, what can we do to make it better for newcomers to Emacs? What paths can we build to, or what resources can we share that people can then link to that helps address that. And Prot says, yeah, he's listening, happy to discuss this with me and with all y'all if you want to join us next week. But right now, the kid is going to come out and have lunch break, so I'm going to have lunch break too. Thank you for joining me. This was fantastic. I'm going to post the notes. The live stream video will already be immediately available from emacs.com. And if you search for YE21, then you will find wherever the notes end up. Thank you everyone again, and we'll see you around.